You've seen them, right? Guys like fitness expert Jeff Cavaliere who seem to just stay lean all year round. And it's so easy to look at that and just chalk it up to, amazing genetics, maybe some secret supplement, or just this superhuman willpower that the rest of us don't have. But what if the secret isn't a secret at all? What if it's actually a system, a repeatable, learnable blueprint that's built on the surprisingly simple idea of consistency? Well, in this explainer, we're going to pull back that curtain. We're not just going to admire the system, we're going to tear it down piece by piece so you can build your very own blueprint for staying lean for life.
Now, this quote right here, this is the key that unlocks the entire thing. Cavaliere calls his consistency a special ability. But honestly, I think that word can be a little misleading. Ability sounds like something you're born with, a talent. Let's reframe that right now. Consistency is not a talent, it's a skill. And just like any other skill, like learning to play the guitar or speaking a new language, it can be learned, it can be practiced, and yeah, it can be mastered. This isn't about having some bottomless well of willpower or turning into a robot who never craves a slice of pizza. It's about designing a system, a personal operating system with rules and a core mindset that's so well designed, it actually makes the right choice the easiest choice. It's about building a structure where consistency becomes the path of least resistance, not this constant brutal uphill battle.
So that's our mission here today, to reveal the exact rules and the core mindset that make this skill of consistency not just possible, but repeatable. We're going to lay out the entire operating system, starting from the foundational philosophy you have to adopt before you even think about food, all the way down to the daily tactics you execute on the ground. You're going to see how every single piece connects to create this powerful, self-reinforcing loop. This is about understanding the why behind the what, so you can take these principles and mold them to fit your life, your schedule, and your tastes. Before we jump in, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and check out the links in the description if you're looking for a real estate agent in your market or you need life insurance. My team and I can help you anywhere nationwide.
So here's our roadmap for building this thing together. First up, we're going to tackle the main problem with the consistency conundrum. Then, we'll lay the single most important piece, your nutritional cornerstone. After that, we'll build the daily framework with the rules of engagement. Next, we'll install the engine with a huge mindset shift. Build, don't just restrict. Then, we'll get into the advanced stuff, mastering the long game and dealing with those tricky foods. And finally, we'll put it all together in your blueprint for leanness.
Okay, let's just get right to it and address the elephant in the room. Why is it so much easier for most of us to stick to our workouts than to stick to our nutrition plan? The answer is really simple. It's about scope. A workout is a defined event. It's an hour, maybe 90 minutes. It's got a clear start and a clear finish. You go in, you work hard, you leave. Done. But nutrition? Oh man. Nutrition is a 24/7, 365-day-a-year negotiation with yourself. It's an endless stream of decisions from the second you wake up until you go to bed. Every meal, every snack, every drink, it's a choice. And that creates this massive decision fatigue. This is exactly why plans that are built on just pure willpower are totally doomed to fail. Willpower is a finite resource. It's like a phone battery that's draining all day long. The system we're building here isn't about getting a bigger battery. It's about designing a lifestyle that just doesn't use as much juice to run.
And that brings us to the absolute foundation of this entire system. And I really can't overstate how critical this part is. Everything else we talk about today, every rule, every tactic is built right on top of this one core philosophy. Before we even mention a single calorie or a macro or any kind of meal timing, we have to get this mindset right. If you mess this part up, the whole structure you try to build is just going to collapse on itself, I promise you. This isn't just a tip. This is the shift in perspective that turns a temporary, miserable diet into a permanent, actually enjoyable way of living.
Now look very closely at these two phrases on the screen. They look almost identical, don't they? But the tiny difference between them is like the Grand Canyon-sized gap between long-term failure and sustainable success. Eat whatever you like is a total recipe for disaster. That's the mindset of impulsive, unrestricted eating that, let's be honest, almost always leads to eating too many calories and making poor food choices. The secret, the cornerstone, is in that second phrase, eat what you like. This means you have to sit down and identify the healthy, nutrient-dense foods that you genuinely enjoy eating, and then you build your entire plan around those foods. Think about it. If your quote-unquote healthy diet feels like a punishment, if you're forcing down bland chicken and broccoli that you can't stand day after day, you are on a collision course with failure. You're building up this psychological debt of deprivation, and sooner or later, you will cash it in with a massive binge. For this to last, it has to start with enjoyability.
So how do we actually do this? Well, it's a simple three-step process. First step, identify.
And this is an active thing. I want you to literally grab a piece of paper or open a note on your phone and you brainstorm. Write down every single healthy protein, carb, and fat that you actually like. Don't filter yourself. This isn't about what some influencer says you should eat. It's about what you enjoy. Maybe for proteins, it's steak, salmon, eggs, Greek yogurt. For carbs, maybe you love sweet potatoes, rice, oatmeal, or even sourdough bread. For fats, it could be avocados, almonds, olive oil. Just get it all down. Step 2. Experiment. Now you take that list and you become a chef in your own kitchen. This is where you turn healthy from boring into incredible. Play around with spices, herbs, different marinades. Try grilling, roasting, air frying. A chicken breast can be 100 different meals depending on what you do with it. The goal is to make these foods something you actively look forward to. And then, step 3, build. These foods, these enjoyable, delicious, healthy foods, they now become the bedrock of your daily plan. The magic here is that when you truly enjoy your core diet, that desperate need for a cheat meal just kind of disappears. You're no longer depriving yourself, so there's really nothing to cheat on, is there?
Okay, so once you've poured that foundation, the cornerstone of eating what you enjoy, it's time to build the structure on top of it. This is where we shift gears from the philosophical why to the mechanical how. If the cornerstone is the foundation of our house, this section is about putting up the walls and the roof. It's about creating a crystal clear set of rules that completely removes emotion, boredom, stress, and just pure guesswork from the eating equation. This is how you build a machine of consistency.
And the core rule of this entire structure is what we'll call eating by the clock. Now, let's be absolutely crystal clear on this. This has zero to do with those old debunked myths about anabolic windows or trying to stoke your metabolism by eating every 2 hours. That's not what this is. This is a purely psychological and behavioral tool designed to build discipline. You set specific times to eat during the day, say 8:30 a.m., 1:30 p.m., and 7 p.m., and you only eat during those windows. That's it, period. This one simple rule short-circuits all the other non-physical reasons we eat. Are you bored? Doesn't matter, it's not time. Are you stressed out from work? Doesn't matter. Did you just see a commercial for a burger? Who cares? It's not your window. This structure gets rid of mindless grazing and helps you relearn the crucial difference between true physical hunger and all those emotional or habitual triggers that cause most of us to overeat. It's a logical, mechanical structure for your day, and that is the backbone of consistency.
So what does this actually look like on a typical day? Well, here's a sample schedule. You've got these preset windows, maybe they're a half-hour long, for each of your meals. Now, a crucial strategy here, and this is key, is that this system is flexible. If you find you're getting absolutely uncontrollably hungry between breakfast at 8:30 and lunch at 1:30, the solution is not to just white-knuckle it and suffer. That's a losing game. The solution is to add another eating window. That's exactly what these mid-morning and mid-afternoon slots are for. You get ahead of the problem. Instead of fighting this 4-hour war against hunger that you're probably going to lose, which leads to you devouring everything in sight at lunch, you just give yourself another scheduled, controlled opportunity to eat. You're using the system to solve the system's own problems. And what's really cool is that over time, your body's internal clock, your hunger hormones like ghrelin, they'll actually adapt to this. You'll start to feel hungry right as those windows are about to open, creating this predictable, manageable rhythm for your entire day.
And now we come to a total paradigm shift. And this is where the system goes from just being sustainable to being truly powerful. Think about it. Almost every diet out there is defined by what it takes away, by restriction, by this long list of foods you can't have. It automatically creates a mentality of scarcity and deprivation. This system is different. It's defined by what you add to your life. We're going to completely shift our focus from this defensive game of avoiding bad foods to an offensive strategy of proactively building a more powerful, more resilient, more efficient metabolic engine. And what's so fascinating, and maybe a little counterintuitive, is that this proactive, additive approach is the true source of sustainable self-control.
So, the first non-negotiable thing we add is a focus on protein. The target here is somewhere between 1 and 1.2 grams per pound of your target body weight. So if your goal weight is, say, 180 pounds, you're shooting for at least 180 grams of protein every single day. So why is this so important? Well, for 3 huge reasons. First, protein is, by far, the most satiating macronutrient. It makes you feel fuller for longer. Spreading that protein across all of your eating windows is a game changer for killing cravings and feeling satisfied on fewer total calories. Second, protein has the highest thermic effect of food, or TEF. All that means is your body burns more calories, up to 30% more, just digesting protein compared to fats and carbs. It's like a small, free metabolic boost at every single meal. And third, obviously, protein gives you the building blocks to build and maintain calorie-burning muscle, which is the cornerstone of our new engine.
Action number 2 to add to your week is consistent strength training at least 3 times a week. Now, this does way more than just burn a few calories while you're in the gym. The real magic happens in the other 23 hours of the day. Every time you lift weights, you're sending a powerful signal to your body to build or at least maintain your lean muscle. And you can think of your muscle as a hungry, active metabolic furnace. The more muscle you have, the higher your basal metabolic rate is, which is just the number of calories you burn 24/7 just to stay alive. So more muscle literally means you're burning more calories while you're sleeping, while you're at your desk, while you're watching TV. On top of that, muscle acts like a storage warehouse for carbohydrates. When you eat carbs, your body wants to store them as glycogen. The more muscle you have, the bigger your warehouses are, which makes it way less likely that those carbs are going to spill over and get stored as body fat.
The third proactive thing we're going to add is conditioning work, at least twice a week. Now, this doesn't mean you have to spend endless, boring hours on a treadmill. This can be anything: high-intensity interval training, playing a sport you love, even just going for a really brisk walk. The point is to get your heart rate up and challenge your cardiovascular system. This obviously burns extra calories, which gives you a bigger buffer, but it also dramatically improves your body's insulin sensitivity, which means you get way better at handling the carbs you eat. But listen, there is one final pillar that holds all of this up: quality sleep. You can be perfect with your nutrition and training, but if your sleep is garbage, your progress will grind to a halt. Sleep is the master regulator. It's when your body repairs muscle, releases growth hormone, and manages stress hormones like cortisol. Without good restorative sleep, your hormones go haywire, recovery stalls, your body just can't function at its best. It is the foundation that everything else is built on.
So let's put this all together. When you combine these proactive actions, high protein, consistent strength training and conditioning, and locking in quality sleep, you're doing way more than just being healthy. You are actively architecting a superior metabolic engine. You are systematically building a body that is better at burning fat, better at building muscle, better at using nutrients, and way more resilient when you have that occasional off-plan meal. This focus on building, not restricting, is what creates real, genuine, lasting self-control. And hey, we're about halfway through building our blueprint now. If this is making sense and you're getting some value out of it, I'd really appreciate it if you take a second to like this explainer and subscribe. And as a reminder, don't forget to check out the links in the description if you're looking for a real estate agent in your market or you need life insurance. My team and I can help you anywhere nationwide. All right, now let's talk about how this new engine helps us handle the really tricky stuff.
Okay, so we've laid our foundation with foods we love. We've built the daily structure with our eating clock. We've installed a high-performance metabolic engine with protein, training, and sleep. Now we have to answer the big question. What about the foods that trip everyone up? The calorie-dense fats, the alcohol, those super tasty starchy carbs. Let's be real, any plan that's based on eliminating these things forever is completely unrealistic and it's going to fail. The key isn't to eliminate them, it's to manage them strategically. And the robust system we've just built is exactly what makes that smart management possible.
So Cavalier offers this really fascinating hierarchy for managing these foods, ranking them by how easy they are to strategically reduce. He argues, maybe surprisingly, that dietary fats are the easiest to manage. Now, not to eliminate, he learned the hard way that going too low fat is a disaster for your health, but to reduce. Simple swaps, like choosing a vinaigrette instead of a creamy ranch dressing, or using an oil spray instead of pouring from the bottle, these things can cut hundreds of calories without you even really noticing. Alcohol is next. It's moderately difficult to manage, mostly because it's so tied into our social lives, but it's not essential for our health. And the hardest to manage, starchy carbs. And that's because carbs are not the enemy. They are your primary fuel for high-performance training, they're critical for refilling your muscle glycogen stores, and they're also just deeply satisfying. They're often what we crave the most when our calories are low.
And this brings us right to the central idea of this entire system, the core psychological breakthrough. Where does the self-control to manage these foods, to have one slice of pizza instead of the whole box, or to pick the baked potato over the fries, where does that actually come from? I'll tell you where it doesn't come from. It doesn't come from sheer white-knuckled willpower. It is built, piece by piece, by all those positive actions we've already taken. Just think about it. That high-protein intake is keeping you full, so you're not a slave to your carb cravings. The strength training has built bigger warehouses for those carbs to go. The conditioning has created a bigger calorie buffer, giving you more flexibility. Quality sleep has regulated your appetite hormones, so you're not fighting a losing chemical battle inside your own body. You're not forcing self-control. You are methodically engineering the physiological and psychological conditions where self-control becomes the natural, almost automatic result.
This quote just sums it up perfectly.
Real, sustainable control doesn't come from a place of fear or negativity. That constant threat of, oh no, what happens if I eat the bad food? That is an exhausting way to live your life. Instead, it comes from the confidence, from the momentum, and from the motivation you get by consistently doing the positive things. When you start seeing changes in the mirror, when your numbers in the gym start going up, when you just feel more energetic because you're eating well and sleeping well, that positive feedback loop becomes an incredibly powerful motivator. That motivation is what fuels your ability to make smarter choices, not some draining, constant battle against your own cravings. All right, let's bring it all home. We've taken apart all the individual components. We looked at the foundational mindset, the daily structure, the metabolic engine, and the strategy for the long game. Now, let's put all those pieces back together and synthesize it all into a single cohesive blueprint that you can use to build your own sustainable, lean-for-life system. So, here it is, your complete lean-for-life blueprint. And it's really best to look at this not just as a checklist, but as a powerful, self-reinforcing cycle. It all starts with your foundation. You have to eat what you like, building your plan from healthy foods you actually enjoy. That enjoyment makes it way easier to stick to the structure, eating by the clock. That consistent structure then gives you the stability you need to build your engine, prioritizing high protein, consistent training, and quality sleep. And finally, that powerful, high-performance engine is what gives you genuine control, that naturally built ability to intelligently manage, not eliminate, the trickier foods in your diet. See how that works? Each part of the system makes the next part easier. This is the operating system for consistency.
The number one thing to take away from all of this is that consistency is not a superpower. It is not something reserved for a few people with lucky genetics. It is a system. It's a personal set of rules and a core philosophy that you design, you implement, and you fine-tune over time. We've just laid out the entire blueprint for you. So the only question left is, what is the very first rule you're going to write for your system? Is it going to be grabbing a notepad and brainstorming 5 healthy meals you absolutely love to eat? Or is it going to be setting your eating windows for tomorrow? The power is in taking that first, small step to start building your own machine. Thank you so much for joining me on this breakdown. If you found it helpful, please do me a favor and like and subscribe for more explainers just like this. And remember, don't forget to check out the links in the description if you're looking for a real estate agent in your market or you need life insurance. My team and I can help you anywhere nationwide. We'll see you in the next one.